The word chariot itself is derived from the Norman French chariot and shares a Celtic root, Gaulish, carros. Some 20 Iron Age chariot burials have been excavated in Britain, roughly dating from between 500 BCE and 100 BCE. Virtually all of them were found in East Yorkshire. The exception was a find in 2001 in Newbridge, 10 km west of Edinburgh. The Celtic chariot, which may have been called carpentos in Gaulish, compare Latin carpentum, 51, was a bigger that measured approximately 2 m, 6 feet 634 in width and 4 m, 13 feet 112 in length. British chariots were open in front. Julius Caesar provides the only significant eyewitness report of British chariot warfare. Their mode of fighting with their chariots is this: firstly, they drive about in all directions and throw their weapons and generally break the ranks of the enemy with the very dread of the horses and the noise of their wheels, and when they have worked themselves in between their troops of horse, leap from their chariots and engage on foot. The charioteers in the meantime withdraw some little distance from the battle, and so place themselves with the chariots that, if the masters are overpowered by the number of the enemy, they may have a ready retreat to their own troops. Thus they display in battle the speed of horse, together with the firmness of infantry, and by daily practice and exercise attain to such expertness that they are accustomed, even on a declining and steep place, to check their horses at full speed, and manage and turn them in an instant, and run along the pole, and stand on the yoke, and thence betake themselves with the greatest celerity to their chariots again. 52. Chariots play an important role in Irish mythology surrounding the hero Cu. Chilean. Sculpture by Thomas Thornycroft of Boudicca and her daughters in her chariot, addressing her troops before the battle. Sculpture by Thomas Thornycroft of Boudicca and her daughters in her chariot, addressing her troops before the battle. Procession of chariots and warriors on the Vix crater, c. 510, a vessel of archaic Greek workmanship found in a Gallic burial. Procession of chariots and warriors on Vix crater, c. 510, a vessel of archaic Greek workmanship found in a Gallic burial. Modern reconstruction of a Hussite war wagon. Modern reconstruction of a Hussite war wagon. Chariots could also be used for ceremonial purposes. According to Tacitus, Annals 14.35, Boudicca, queen of the Iceni and a number of other tribes in a formidable uprising against the occupying Roman forces, addressed her troops from a chariot in 61. Boudica Curufilias pre sev hens, ut quam nationem accessorat, solitum quidem Britannis feminarum ducta bella testabacia. Boudica, with her daughters before her in a chariot, went up to tribe after tribe, protesting that it was indeed usual for Britons to fight under the leadership of women. The last mention of chariot use in battle seems to be at the Battle of Mons Graupius, somewhere in modern Scotland, in 84 CE. From Tacitus, Agricola 1.3536, the plain between resounded with the noise and with the rapid movements of chariots and cavalry. The chariots did not win even their initial engagement with the Roman auxiliaries. Meantime the enemy's cavalry had fled, and the charioteers had mingled in the engagement of the infantry. Later through the centuries, the chariot was replaced by the war wagon. The war wagon was a medieval development used to attack rebel or enemy forces on battlefields. The wagon was given slits for archers to shoot enemy targets, supported by infantry using pikes and flails, and later for the invention of gunfire by handgunners. Side walls were used for protection against archers, crossbowmen, the early use of gunpowder and cannon fire. It was especially useful during the Hussite Wars, c. 1420, by Hussite forces rebelling in Bohemia. Groups of them could form defensive works, but they also were used as hardpoints for Hussite formations or as firepower in pincer movements. This early use of gunpowder and innovative tactics helped a largely peasant infantry stave off attacks by the Holy Roman Empire's larger forces of mounted knights. Etruria. Detail of the Monteleone chariot at Thmet, c. 530 BCE. The only intact Etruscan chariot dates to c. 530 BCE and was uncovered as part of a chariot burial at Monteleone di Spoleto. Currently in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. 53. It is decorated with bronze plates decorated with detailed low-relief scenes, commonly interpreted as depicting episodes from the life of Achilles. 54. Yorachu. In Yorachu, 860–590 BC, the chariot was used by both the nobility and the military. In Erebuni, Yerevan, King Arjishti of Yorachu is depicted riding on a chariot which is pulled by 2 horses. The chariot has 2 wheels and each wheel has about 8 spokes. This type of chariot was used around 800 BCE. Rome. A winner of a Roman chariot race in the Roman Empire, chariots were not used for warfare, but for chariot racing, especially in circuses, or for triumphal processions when they could be pulled by as many as 10 horses or even by dogs, tigers, or ostriches. There were 4 divisions, or factions, of charioteers, distinguished by the color of their costumes, the red, blue, green and white teams. The main center of chariot racing was Circus Maximus, 55, situated in the valley between the Palatine and Aventine hills in Rome. The track could hold 12 chariots, and 2 sides of the track were separated by a raised median termed spina. Chariot races continued to enjoy great popularity in Byzantine times, in the Hippodrome of Constantinople, even after the Olympic Games had been disbanded, until their decline after Thnica riots in the 6th century. 56. The starting gates were known as the carceres. An ancient Roman car or chariot pulled by 4 horses abreast together with the horses pulling it was called a quadriga, from the Latin quadriugi, of a team of 4. The term sometimes meant instead the 4 horses without the chariot or the chariot alone. A 3-horse chariot, or the 3-horse team pulling it, was a trigger, from triugi, of a team of 3. A 2-horse chariot, or the 2-horse team pulling it, was a bigger from biugi. A popular legend that has been around since at least 1937 traces the origin of the 4 feet 812 in standard railroad gauge to Roman times, 57, suggesting that it was based on the distance between the ruts of rutted roads marked by chariot wheels dating from the Roman Empire. Note 11. This is encouraged by the fact that otherwise peculiar distance is almost exactly 5 Roman feet, but there is no evidence to span femina annium and a half between the departure of the Romans from Britain and the adoption of the gauge on the Stockton and Darlington Railway in 1825. Introduction in ancient China. Chariot burial of Zheng. Chariot burial of Zheng. Bronze Chinese charioteer from the Warring States period, 403–221 BCE. Bronze Chinese charioteer from the Warring States period, 403–221 BCE. Powerful landlord in chariot, Eastern Han, 25–220 CE, Anping County, Hebei. Powerful landlord in chariot, Eastern Han, 25–220 CE, Anping County, Hebei. The earliest archaeological evidence of chariots in China, a chariot burial site discovered in 1933 at Hogang, Anyang in Henan Province, dates to the rule of King Wuding of the late Shang dynasty, c. 1250 BCE. Oracle bone inscriptions suggest that the western enemies of the Shang used limited numbers of chariots in battle, but the Shang themselves used them only as mobile command vehicles and in royal hunts. 58. During the Shang dynasty, members of the royal family were buried with a complete household and servants, including a chariot, horses, and a charioteer. A Shang chariot was often drawn by 2 horses, but 4-horse variants are occasionally found in burials. Jacques Chariot claims that the Zhou dynasty, which conquered the Shang ca. 1046 BCE, made more use of the chariot than did the Shang and invented a new kind of harness with 4 horses abreast. 59. The crew consisted of an archer, a driver, and sometimes a 3rd warrior who was armed with a spear or dagger axe. From the 8th to 5th centuries BCE, the Chinese use of chariots reached its peak. Although chariots appeared in greater numbers, infantry often defeated charioteers in battle. Massed chariot warfare became all but obsolete after the Warring States period, 476–221 BCE. The main reasons were increased use of the crossbow, use of long halberds up to 18 feet, 5.49 m, long, and pikes up to 22 feet, 6.71 m, long, and the adoption of standard cavalry units, and the adaptation of mounted archery from pneumatic cavalry, which were more effective. Chariots would continue to serve as command posts for officers during the Qin dynasty, 221–206 BCE, and the Han dynasty, 206 BCE 220 CE, while armored chariots were also used during the Han dynasty against the Xiongnu Confederation in the Han-Xiongnu War, 133 BC to 89 CE, specifically at the Battle of Mobili, 119 BCE. Before the Han dynasty, the power of Chinese states and dynasties was often measured by the number of chariots they were known to have. A country of 1,000 chariots ranked as a medium country, and a country of 10,000 chariots ranked as a huge and powerful country. 61. See also: cavalry, chariot burial, chariot clock, chariot tactics, chuckwagon racing, Merkava, Ratha, south-pointing chariot, sulky, Tashinka, tanks, technical vehicle, temple car, wagon, Zamburik.
Good. Yes. We have the news. Sorry for all these interruptions, but I not feel so well tonight. I'm sneezing. I think I have this allergy from plants, grass. So I will stop the video because we have the Danish news.